great to have you here today to talk about our theme of regulatory intensity and divergence. We've had a very choppy start to 2025. What are your observations so far?
Regulatory intensity and divergence is a theme that EY has been monitoring over a number of years. Post global financial crisis, we saw much more global cooperation with some jurisdictions adjusting requirements to meet their local expectations. Increasingly, what we've started to see over the last several years, and probably an acceleration of that in 2025, is that regulators are pursuing their own sort of nationalistic expectations around what they want to accomplish from a regulatory perspective, which has the net effect of creating much more complexity for global financial institutions in that they need to build enterprise programs, but then also need to do much more customization and tailoring for local jurisdictions. The net effect of that is even when a jurisdiction is pursuing a deregulation type of agenda, it actually creates much more regulatory burden on the financial institution to be able to manage, in effect, different regulatory programs under a umbrella.
What do you see the role of technology as in this complex environment?
Technology is a must to be able to manage this complexity. It's not just the complexity of the compliance programs themselves, but when you look at integrated programs such as operational resilience, which relies on many risk programs to be able to tell the story of your financial institution's resilience posture, or something more new like integrity and security, where you're looking for potential early warning signals of malicious intent within your financial institution. And so I think that leads you to having to have a flexible data model to be able to have robust data sources, both from an internal perspective and a third-party perspective, to be able to do the analytics and to be able to send out the signals early on that there may be concerns in your organization around your status of compliance, your operational resilience posture, or the potential for malicious activity in your organization. That reporting is so important for you to be able to act upon it.
Do you think Canadian regulators need to rethink how they regulate and approach standards development?
Very interesting question. I think the important way to answer this question is to look back at the how financial regulators are set up in different jurisdictions. I know that there's been a lot of press around Canadian banks and their foray into the U.S. and to make a comparison to what the U.S. regulators do and what OSFI does isn't really a fair comparison. And the reason being is the way that those different regulatory agencies are set up prevent or allow for certain tools and capabilities to be used. So first and foremost, OSFI has a mandate for safety and soundness in the Canadian financial system. So what that means is they want financial institutions to be in good financial condition, to meet their prudential requirements and manage risk. But OSFI is also responsible for promoting public confidence in the Canadian financial system. And with five, six very large players and a number of smaller players, it has to take a different approach. OSFI is also bound by confidentiality. This means that it is unable to share its dealings with financial institutions. And so the genesis of that is to promote transparency and discussions with financial institutions so that they would be proactive in raising concerns with their regulators or just even fostering a dialogue. And I think that's an important lever in terms of ongoing supervision versus where you may just have a name and shame type regime. And I think, OSFI has done a lot over the past number of years to create and promote confidence in its ability to regulate Canadian financial institutions. The first thing is they've modernized their supervisory framework. So they rolled that out last year and they assess financial institutions on four risk categories: business risk, financial risk, operational resilience, and risk governance. It also takes a look at climate risk and thinks about it as a transversal risk across all four categories. larger FIs have received ratings across these areas, and smaller institutions may receive just an overall rating. This allows OSFI to make decisions very quickly based on inputs coming in from those financial institutions on whether or not they need to intervene much more quickly. It's also important to note that OSFI has also been very, very public around promoting what's on their mind with respect to policy development as well. So they've been engaging financial institutions as well as the public on a quarterly basis to talk about things OSFI is planning to do in the coming quarter. So it is an opportunity for financial institutions and the public to ask questions and for OSFI to respond to those. So I think the supervisory approaches are very different between Canada and the US, but at the same time, I think OSFI has done a lot to open the doors around how they supervise and to address some of the concerns that they're seeing in the market.
Just to finish things off, this is a very unusual climate that we're in. It's very fast moving. Do you have any views on how Canada should navigate these challenges?
One of the things that regulators have to also acknowledge is that the world is also rapidly changing, and we see that to some extent. OSFI has updated their supervisory framework to modernize it to allow them to make interventions much more rapidly based on data coming in from financial institutions. Second, they have also created a digital innovation open door policy. That means they have invited the academics, fintechs, financial institutions that they regulate, and anyone else who wants to come and talk about digital innovation. Another example of that is CRO has cultivated a crypto trading working group. They too are also interested in having conversations with the industry around some of the risks and opportunities with respect to crypto trading, and they're looking for that dialogue so that we can better understand the risks as well as the opportunities that fintechs and other financial institutions are pursuing so that they can preserve market integrity.